Hey, everyone, it's another episode of the Whiskey Crusaders, and I'm really excited to have a special guest here. We got David here, the head distiller of Woodworks. So we're going to jump in here and talk about this. So, David, just a little bit about your background, and then we're going to start drinking some awesome vodka to start with.
Absolutely. So we are Woodworks Distilling. We are here in Oklahoma City, and we're about a year and a half, 18 months old, something like that, since we went into production.
Okay.
We have a full tasting room, cocktail lounge, and bar on site, where
Awesome.
you look into our distillery floor and get to see those stills sitting there in all their majesty. Ooh. And they've got a couple of halos over them that light them up even at night, so they kind of glow in there. And we like to tell people that we make heavenly spirits.
Okay, I saw that on their website. I was like, "Oh, that's got to be." I didn't realize those were actually there. I forgot that was like a graphic that's added. That's awesome.
Those are actually there.
Cool. All right, hey, and of course, I want to thank Andy for picking these all up from Woodworks, and
appreciate Andy. He came out and spent a few hours with me one day.
Awesome.
I let him connect hoses and spray hoses out and all the stuff I didn't want to do.
Very cool. See, Andy puts you to work. Even better. That's great. Hey, Don or Past, Tater Dom, good to see you guys. So why is it called Woodworks? What's the name of that for?
So there's a couple of things that go into that naming. For one, our owner proprietor is David Wood.
Okay, makes sense.
So Woodworks. And then also being our ultimate goal is to be a true bourbon whiskey aged spirit distillery.
Okay.
And so that, wood is going to influence everything that we do. And
totally.
How we get to the wood, what we want to do, and even down the road playing with, repurposing barrels, repurposing staves, finishing whiskeys in this or finishing whiskeys in that, bringing 100% French oak.
Ooh,
and some finishes. Or I really like, and I'm not going to remember the name of it off the top of my head. You might, but that Brazilian oak that has that
kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Has that kind of funky off.
Yeah, it's
just kind of really interesting and fun when you finish some whiskeys in it. I really like it.
Yeah, it's one of those ones you got to be super careful with, but can make them really awesome stuff at the same time.
Right. And it's so good in the cocktail world, and
sure,
if you're into the true mixology and the side that comes post distillation.
Oh yeah, we like all that nerdy side of it too.
It's really fun to play with those things and what those flavors can do.
Absolutely, very cool. All right, so like I said, we were talking about earlier before we started. You got these guys have a really cool. Actually, I'll probably show the bottle. It's probably easier to see. Yeah, I like you guys' logo there with the woodpecker. I think that's really cool. So everybody check that out. So is the woodpecker a native up there in Oklahoma, or why the woodpecker? Just because it's fun? It's because it's a woodpecker with wood.
Yeah, fun with the woodpecker with the wood. I do think there's a deeper story behind that with David Wood, our owner. I either was too far into a bottle of bourbon when he told it to me, or didn't get the full gist of it at some point. I do know there's a story back there, but I would be lying. I'd just be making something up if I tried.
It works. Good enough. Good enough for me. All right. I guess we should just jump into it. Let's pour some vodka and let's talk a little bit about your background. How'd you get into the distiller and all that stuff?
My vodka. Well, as you pour the vodka, let's start there. This is our 4-grain mash.
Okay.
So we do corn, wheat, barley, and rye.
Okay.
And we do not filter or charcoal mellow anything that we make, including this vodka.
All right. Awesome.
I actually use our vodka column that we have on site and distill it up to about 192 to 194 proof.
Okay.
Before we proof it back down to 90. So it's actually a 90 proof vodka.
Oh, nice. You guys only knocked it down to 90? That's sweet. I love it.
Feedback are a very complex neutral spirit and vodka for the whiskey drinker.
Totally. It smells amazing.
You will actually taste all 4 of those grains. And it really, really, really does well in martinis, cocktails, mixed drinks. It's really good. Even my wife will just drink it straight here at home. With a couple pieces of ice in it.
That's good. That's really good.
It won bronze at San Francisco World Spirits and at American Distillers Institute last year.
Fantastic. That's a great vodka. I love all the craft or finally making vodkas we actually want to drink. Other than that disgusting crap most people put out. It's like, oh, I don't want to drink rubbing alcohol. It's gross.
No, certainly. And that was kind of our goal here. We didn't just want another run-of-the-mill neutral, nothing to talk about vodka. We wanted something that was very kind of robust, so to speak, as vodka.
Yeah, I like it. I like to get a 90 proof, which is even I've had some good vodkas, but 90 proof is a really unique proof point for a vodka. I think of us who has a 90. Had some really good ones, but don't know if they were 90 proof though. Which I appreciate the proof point bump up in that, and it's super clean, super oily. Lots of, like, so you can taste all 4 grains. Great stuff. Of course, Scotsman, the first question is, can we get it in Texas?
Not yet. We are growing organically here in Oklahoma, and trying to fill our market here as best we can before we take on whole new states, and especially Texas. I actually come from a long background in the retail and wholesale side. I was the craft beer manager for Glazer Beer and Beverage in North Louisiana for a year and a half before getting into the distillery world. Okay. And Texas is just I've seen companies go belly up because they took on Texas too early.
Oh, yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, that's not good at all.
Right, you get into Texas and just the market just sucks you. You're trying to fill the market in Texas, and your other markets can suffer if you don't have the capacity.
Yeah, I'd imagine, because we drink everything you send us. It's a serious problem that no one else gets your product.
Right.
So what is the price point on this too?
So our vodka, we retail it at our distillery where we have a full tasting room and bar. We retail it about $27.95.
Nice, very nice. Now, do you guys have distribution to other parts of Oklahoma besides you guys' distillery?
So yes, so we do the greater Oklahoma City metroplex as well as the Tulsa metroplex.
Okay, cool. Yeah, my brother lives up in Broken Arrow, so I have to tell him to go check you guys out up there and grab someone up that area.
So I think Broken Arrow, I know we're in fairly close to him. Quenchers, I think, right there in Owasso, which is just outside of there, I believe.
Okay. Do you know if you guys are like in CJ's and places like that at all?
Yeah, I'm not certain about CJ's, but we are in quite a few bars, restaurants, liquor stores.
Awesome.
Kind of all over, and growing daily. So
fantastic. Yeah, and his wife is a huge vodka and gin drinker, so there's something for all of them, which is perfect. Right. But like I said, this is a whiskey drinker's vodka, so this is great vodka.
Well, it does really well in cocktail culture as well, mixing well. My wife's having a martini right now. So
perfect. So when you make a martini, what's your what cocktail recipe you using for that?
So with the martini we have here, and I actually tell people with this particular vodka, be careful over shaking it because you can bruise.
Okay.
Yes, with the kind of like that oily and texture you've got, you can kind of drop that out and kill it. And so a lot of times we stir this. She likes a dirty martini, so we'll do about 2.5 to 3 to 1 vodka to olive juice.
Okay.
And then give it a nice stir and strain it out nicely with a few olives. Dave, the owner at the distillery, one of his favorite drinks, he'll just do it on the rocks with a couple olives. It's be great that way. Yeah, I think JD, I think your wife would love it since his wife's Polish, and my Aunt Doreen, you should love this too. This is really great vodka, so highly recommend this. We're just the first one. It's great. One of my favorite ways to drink it is actually stirred over ice with about 5, 6, 7, 8 dashes of orange bitters.
Okay.
And a piece of orange zest, and just ice cold in a martini glass.
That
orange bitter zest citrusy really plays well with those flavors.
I bet it does. That's awesome. Andy says that the distillery has some awesome name, like the name of a song from My Chemical Romance. So what are the insane names that you have of some of these cocktails at the distillery?
So yeah, there's that. We have your typical like corpse survivors and your fairy godmothers, but we have one called I'll Be Nicer If You'll Be Smarter.
That's awesome.
We've got had one called Tears of Our Enemies. And we actually have one, and it's a crowd favorite, called El Guapo from Three Amigos.
Yeah, nice.
And then the other crowd favorite is a smoked whiskey cocktail, rosemary smoked whiskey cocktail called Today's Eyeliner Could Be Tomorrow's Smoky Eye If You Just Believe in Yourself.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I love it. That's great. Who comes up with the name of these cocktails? Is this you and a combination of the people that work there, or just kind of?
It's a collaborative effort. Usually it's the mixologists and the bartenders and stuff like that, as well as our front of house manager, Abby, up front, coming up with these. And it gets collaborative a lot of times. Some of the recipes have some influence from me and influence from Dave, or different things we like.
Cool. Right.
Like our lineup of our old fashions are typically drier than where you would find them in most places, so that we don't oversweeten them. Because I love old fashions. You can almost put zero sweetener in them, and I'm good with it.
Totally agree. Yeah, I found most old fashions that are made at most bars generally weak and not very good.
Right.
Yeah, I like them to not be like that at all. So yours sounds like the kind I would actually like to drink. So that's perfect.
Well, we tell people all the time we can only sell alcohol that we make on site, so we can't
Right.
bring mixers or cordials or liqueurs or anything that we don't actually make. So I make our own vermouths. We have a sweeten to dry vermouth we make on site. All of our syrups that go into our drinks are made on site by the bar staff.
Okay.
And then down the line, we look to have our own kind of in-house Campari, Aperol,
Very
Amaro,
cool. Love it.
that
Awesome.
kind of thing, as well as some coffee liqueurs and things like that we'll also be doing.
Very cool. So speaking of making all those, what kind of still are you guys using?
What kind of what?
What kind of still are you guys?
So we have two main stills on site. We have a hybrid pot still. Our entire still setup is made by Vendome Copper and Brass out of Louisville.
Awesome.
And we actually bought it secondhand from Frey Ranch out in Nevada.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Very cool.
Colby Frey had sold it to us after he had it about 8 years, and then they moved into whiskey only and put in a column still.
Okay. Makes total sense.
And so we bought their old system. So it's a hybrid pot still.
Okay.
So we've got our pot. We've got a onion, nice big onion on it, and then a 4-plate short column on the pot, along with a stainless steel botanical barrel that comes off the top or comes off of that short column. And then if we valve it right, it'll feed into a 20-foot, 20-plate vodka column where we actually clean that vodka up to that 192.
Wow. Very nice. So everything starts in the pot still, then if it needs to be transferred over to the column at that point, usually?
Correct. So in order, because I've got kids and I've got to get to soccer practices and after school stuff and all of that, I do try to shorten my days as best I can rather than spending 20 hours standing on a still.
I don't blame you.
So we will do a stripping run where once the fermentation is done, we will just rip the alcohol out of the grain. Okay. And then all the leftover stillage and water goes into totes, and we have local farmers that come and pick that up and go out and feed their cattle with it.
That's the best kind of happy cows.
That's right. And then we'll do a spirits run where we will clean it up to the next phase. So if we're making a whiskey, I'm running it kind of faster. Keep all the flavor in there, keeping it below 160 proof. I actually like to run it, try to hold it below 150 if I can.
Why you going super low? Okay, very nice.
The still likes to run really high proof. So when I'm running, trying to keep it below 150, I'm feeding a lot of steam through that jacket. Okay. And then if I'm going to convert it into a gin or vodka, we'll run it higher proof.
Sure.
It'll be coming off that still somewhere around 180 at that point.
Okay, makes sense.
And then we'll take that and either proof it back down to infuse it as gin, or we will put it all back in there and run it again through the vodka still. Because even after those first two distillations, when I do a vodka only run, I'm still looking at a 15, 16-hour day.
Damn.
Everything is manual. Nothing is spring loaded. Nothing is controlled by a computer.
Okay.
It's all done by controlling valves. Just a little bit here, just a little bit there. I like to compare it to trying to balance on a beach ball in the middle of a pool.
Sounds about right.
Right.
Yeah, it's a fun time. Wow, it's all manual. Good times. Hey, but that's so. How wide are your cuts usually? You're looking. Is it just kind of change daily for you, or you got it pretty easy as far as the cuts you're going to make? Is all just to flavor every day when you're trying it?
So I will tell you, I do my cuts based on sensory, but with that being said, they're pretty narrow. As a distiller, I cannot stand any of the heads compounds.
Okay. Yeah.
Even the late ones that you're kind of taught to leave in there for the whiskey diffusion through the barrel, I leave those in there with a snarl on my face because I do not like them.
I don't blame you. Taste it. No, that's the thing. People don't, with cheap crap, that's what makes you sick. And you leave that crap in there, and it's like, that's why you have a horrible headache, and that's also why it costs $3. So there's a reason for that.
So I just don't like it all. When I'm doing tours and tastings and stuff on site, I tell people I'm very, very sensitive to heads compounds, and I don't like them at all. So like our vodka, as you noticed, has none.
No, it's beautiful. It's great stuff. I like how Andy says it's about the same temp as the seventh circle of hell in the storeroom.
Yes, it is this time of year. In fact, when I was doing some proofing last week, I went to grab my thermometer so I could get the temperature of the spirit, and I turned the thermometer on for it to reveal that it was 100.5 degrees in the distillery.
Awesome! That sounds like a great time.
Right. So
I
do have the benefit of being able to drink every night because I just sweat it out all day.
Yeah, for real. That is one way to handle it. That is true.
It's a daily cleanse.
All right, so we go to your Western gin first. That's the gin you told me first. All right,
Western gin, and by Western we mean Americanized. So this is going to be citrusy and floral. Now the base spirit of our gin we make ourselves, 100% grain to glass. We don't source that. And it's actually our bourbon mash bill. So it's corn, wheat.
Oh, very cool.
And I only distill it up to about 180 proof. So it doesn't become vodka before it becomes gin. So you keep some of those grain characteristics.
Okay. All right.
And then this one, you're going to find juniper and coriander. Okay. And then you will find some fresh ginger root.
Okay.
Ruby red grapefruit. And I use both the meat and the pith, not just the rind.
All right.
And then you'll get some hints of lavender, which we grow ourselves. So that's a nice fresh floral lavender rather than being your hand soap, bath salt.
Sure. Handle. I love that. I love lavender, and that's beautiful in there.
Then you get your not rose hip. You're getting your lemongrass and citron peel, rose hip, rose petal, and then that lavender lingers in the finish and just kind of sits there. Nice.
That's a beautiful, clean nose. That's great. Oh yeah, so but it's not an overpowering juniper at all. It's really just nice. All the other botanicals play really nice in there.
Right. In designing these recipes, I wanted the gin to be very approachable, especially this one, very approachable, even for your non-gin drinkers.
Oh yeah, easily for non-gin drinkers, it's perfect for them. Now, when you guys put in your botanicals, are you macerating them? Or are you putting them in the
I don't macerate. I find macerated gins for me is they get a little bit tannic, slightly extra bitter. You get some more of the off flavors that come through, and I wanted our gins to be bright and beautiful, just like that one.
Yeah.
And then as I name those flavors to you, I feel like those with at least a half developed palate can actually pick those flavors out.
Oh yeah, as soon as you said them, they're all there for sure. So, are you doing a gin basket, or you soak? Are they going up, steaming up through the botanicals themselves?
So it is a gin basket, and the vapor passes through the basket as it heads up. We actually valve it where we open up the gin basket, and the vapor does not travel through the column at the top of the hybrid still.
Okay, awesome.
So we divert it through the basket, and then it goes up and over the lima. It actually comes out through our proofing parrot between 155 and 165 proof.
Okay.
It's a very intense flavor profile. If you ever
I bet it is at that proof. Yeah. If you come and do a tour, do you get to try it off the still like that?
If it's running right, then
yeah. There you go. That's awesome.
I actually do that a lot. A lot of times, if I have a late night where I am distilling and the tasting room opens, if there's 30 people in there, not so much. But if there's 5 or 6 people sitting around, I'll usually pull some samples off and take them into the tasting room.
Very cool. That's awesome.
It's just kind of fun.
Now, is your tasting room open every day? Does weekends, or how often does it open if somebody wants to visit up there?
So we're open Wednesday through Thursday.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, Wednesday through Sunday. Yeah. Wednesday through Sunday. Wednesday, Thursday, we open at 3. Friday, we open at 2. Saturday, we are noon to 11. And Sunday, we are 1 to 8.
Nice. You got good hours. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And then typically close 10 during the week, 11 on the weekends.
Okay. Cool.
We have the ability to open outside of that. We do private functions. We actually had a private function up there tonight for a local charity group. So
fantastic. And he says you also have great merch, so even better.
There is that. We got some cool shirts. Coming into winter, we're going to be bringing in some more hoodies and things like that.
Nice. Yeah. It's like I said, if your logo is cool on the glass, I'm sure it's awesome on you guys t-shirts and sweatshirts and all that fun stuff, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the dry gin you said next.
The dry gin next. So this is our nod toward London. This is going to be a little more earthy and botanical for you. Juniper and coriander again. And I do the coriander because I found early on when I was a baby distiller and tasked with creating a gin that coriander would very quickly cut juniper.
Okay.
So that you can move to other flavors without the juniper overpowering the spirit.
All right.
So here you'll get the juniper and coriander. You'll get a heavier ginger root note to the point that it's almost spicy.
Okay.
You'll get fresh cucumber, fresh sage. Again, I grow the sage myself. So that it's on site so that it's that, again, that fresh floral sage rather than being hand soaked, bath salt, whatever.
That smells awesome.
And then orris root, sarsaparilla, some gunpowder tea. Okay. And then in the finish, you get some nice green peppers, which are actually serrano and jalapeno.
Oh, very cool.
Now, you don't get any heat from them because that capsaicin doesn't travel the vapor column.
Okay. Okay.
So any spicy notes you get are just that nice fresh ginger root in there.
Very nice. It smells
This one also won bronze at American Distillers Institute last year.
Awesome.
Makes great martinis, great Negronis, and is fantastic in Bloody Marys.
Oh yeah, yeah, but that's really good in Bloody Marys. Yeah, all that nice cucumber and pepper notes on there. Yeah, that's really nice. That's good. But that's the same thing. It's still a very approachable gin for a non-gin person. Still, it just got the little bit extra oomph to it. Now, what's the proof on the two gins here too?
Those two gins are also 90 proof.
This is both 90 proof. Okay, very
cool. Again, not filtered or charcoal mellowed, and gin with the amount of oils that we're diffusing into that spirit much lower than that, they'll start to loosh out and you'll get cloudy. Which actually, just a fun fact, that's why most of your gin bottles are green or blue and or have features on the glass because it hides the fact that at lower proof they cloud up.
Sure. I knew they clouded up with a whiskey. I never thought about it from a gin putting on the bottle with those colors. That makes sense. It's a good idea. See, good insider knowledge on that. Hey there, Bourbon. Good to see you there at Whiskey Uncensored. I guess my aunt says you can come take a visit up to Oklahoma to see you, so even better. So that'll be good. This is really great stuff. Yeah, these are definitely whiskey drinker gins, so I appreciate that completely.
Yeah, well, we make 4 different gins, and part of it is because this category is really, really fun to play in.
Sure, absolutely.
I spent 20 years bartending prior to becoming a distiller. And as a bartender, I just never really got into gin much. I didn't like it. They were mostly just
London Dry.
I was very on the home cocktail party scene.
Sure.
Not necessarily a true mixologist at the time. And so the gins we were dealing with was your Beefeater and your Bombay White Label.
Right. Your typical London Dry.
Now, going back to them now, I can appreciate them, but at the time, they weren't good.
Yeah, I think 20 years ago, I could give a shit about gin.
And as a baby distiller, I got into it and fell in love with the category, especially since the only rule is put juniper in there. After that, I can do it.
It's a pretty great rule. We got one rule. Perfect.
And some of the fun things is in my little test still, just for fun, one year I was bored. So I drove all around North Louisiana and picked all the flowers and or fruits that were blooming at the time in late spring.
Very cool.
Making sure to pay attention to what was poisonous or not.
Yeah, they're for the best.
And then, and then went back and I measured what I was putting in there just to know how much I was putting in there, but I wasn't thinking about how I was measuring it out. I was just taking note of what I was putting in there, and made a gin you'll never see again in your life, because even if you go gather the same ingredients the same time, it will taste different next year.
Right. So that's a good point.
That is fun though. It's just it was super. It ended up being really peppery because Magnolia for some reason brings a lot of peppery notes.
Interesting.
It was just a lot of fun. I'd be out hiking with my 2 boys and they'd go, "Have you ever tried this?" No, but we can.
Right. As long as it won't kill you, sure, we'll stick it in there, see what happens. Yeah. Exactly. That's awesome. And Bourbon, yes, that is the hat of Texas. Hey, old man Joe, good to see you guys there. And he says, here in OKC, just said, yet you chose to wear an LSU shirt.
Well, I am from Louisiana, so it's opening
the accent there. So how did you get to become a distiller from being a bartender and all that for 20 years prior?
Well, I tell people I got here through a life of poor decisions, but you spell that P-O-U-R.
Okay.
And, but yeah, 20 years as a bartender, caterer. I worked on the retail side, and then switched and worked for Glazer Beer and Beverage as their craft beer manager.
Okay.
Originally, post college, I wanted to become a brewer.
Okay.
And so I'd gone to brewing school, but entry level brewers at the time were making tens of thousands of dollars less than I was making as a bartender.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And I wasn't going to take a $20,000 pay cut or more to work twice as hard. So I never really pursued that.
Okay.
And then years later, I got approached by a project that was going on in my hometown that they picked me up. They actually sent me to distillery school at Moonshine University.
Oh, yeah, Moonshine, yeah. Awesome.
It was great. I do highly recommend it for any aspiring distillers out there. And even if you're not an aspiring distiller, go and do their Stave and Thief class on site. You won't regret spending that time.
Very cool.
It's a very cool program. They were I learned so much in 6 days. I walked in there with the knowledge of how to brew and how to treat the grain.
Yeah.
But literally no idea how to even approach a still, and left there with pretty confident that I could walk into a distillery anywhere.
That's awesome.
And get it up and running. Not only just out of the knowledge they gave me, but also out of the contacts. And hey, if you have a question about anything ever, call us. If you have a question about this specific, call that guy. If you have this specific, call that guy. And so and I've done it. I've picked up the phone and called people I've never met before in my life.
Awesome. Yeah.
And had those distillers drop what they're doing and talk to me about an hour or walk me through a problem for an hour.
That's awesome. That's really, wow, what a great program.
Really great community. Just distillers as a whole. So it's been really awesome.
Yeah, that's the one thing we found in the whiskey industry is at least everybody's pretty friendly and we all want to generally help each other out. Whatever our skill sets are in this, everybody's pretty good at this. So that's awesome. So then you were at a different distillery. I guess you were at a different distillery prior to being here at Woodworks?
Yes. That distillery never really came through or got off the ground.
Okay.
Which is why I ended up accepting the job here.
I
actually accepted the job here without ever seeing Oklahoma City or meeting David Wood in person.
Holy crap, that's amazing.
I'd been dating my now wife for about 6 months at the time, so we weren't at the point of getting married and making that decision yet. So we did the long thing for a couple of years before we got married, and she's moved up here. She actually kind of has her dream job now too. She's a high school teacher. She teaches broadcasting.
Oh, very cool.
Gotten a job that just they absolutely love her, and she loves where she's at. So that's been a great thing too.
Even better. It was meant to be.
That's right.
That's awesome. All right, so let's move to your barrel-aged gin now.
So our barrel-aged gin stems from a gin we make called our worldwide gin. So you had our Western American gin, our London-style dry gin. Then we make a worldwide gin that has juniper in it, but after juniper, no other botanicals. It's all spices. Cinnamon, allspice, grains of paradise, sarsaparilla, fennel, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then we take that and it sits in our used bourbon barrel for 5 months. Now, it went into the barrel at 90 proof. It came back out at 90.7.
Okay, that's awesome.
And that's where you get that color. You're starting to get some bourbon influence.
That's cool.
And this just won gold at the John Barleycorn Awards this year.
That's fantastic. That's where he knows.
Great Negroni, fantastic old fashions, especially dry old fashioned, because it presents as sweet without being sweetened at all.
Sure.
And I like to tell people it pairs really well with the sunset, some sort of Caribbean cigar, and whatever you might be burning on a grill.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Man, I could see you smoking something with this too. This smells amazing.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, that's good. Andy, I can see why you like this. It's delicious. Ooh, and all those spices are coming through now. Ooh, that's fun. Oh, yeah, the cocktails you can make with this, they'll be good times.
Yeah, they're really good. And again, it presents as sweet, so you can drink what tastes like a sweeter drink without having to add the sugar and things that a lot of people
which is appreciated because sugar's also not your friend with with hangovers and that fun stuff.
Right.
So what do the gins run price-wise, the 3 gins?
So the Western and the dry are right at $29.95.
Okay.
And then I think we've got 33 or 34.95 on that one.
So yeah, all super reasonable. Yeah, awesome.
One thing about that one too is we had it in the barrel. It was our second iteration. So we made 2 barrels of our first iteration. We aged those for 4 months. At 4 months, they were really good. And so we were like, okay, they're ready. We're happy with where it is. And what we do as a distillery, kind of as a point, is David Wood and I, whenever we have a product that we're ready to release, we will put it in a glass and sit down and just sip it neat.
Sure.
And if we're not at the bottom of our glass and wanting that second pour neat, we're not releasing it, or it's not ready.
That seems totally fair. I think that's I wish more distillers would do that.
So with this one at 4 months, we were like, "Yep, this is it. This is where we want it to be. It's right in the right in the pocket." So we dumped it, bottled it, sold it. It did pretty well. Well, we kind of immediately made the second round. Barrels. We reached the 4-month mark and we tasted it. It was good. It could have been dumped at that point, but we still had some back stock on the batch 1.
Sure.
So we were like, let it sit a little more. Well, when it got to the 5-month mark, we weren't ready. We still had plenty of back stock, but I had to get it out of the barrel because it had mellowed so much. I still wanted it to be gin. I still wanted it to have some spirit to it.
Sure.
And so I was like, this is almost getting to the point where we're getting too mellow, too soft. Let's get it out of the barrel so it maintains just that hint of bite.
That's good. It's really good. Andy says he wants to follow the Bruichladdich into a 3-year age gin. Who cares? It's not really close to the same weather as each other. Yeah, Andy. One's really freaking hot and dry. The other one's, wet and rains all the damn time. That's all. And near the ocean, the middle of the landlocked state in the middle of the country. But sure, they're close. Probably, I would imagine in 3 years, we'd probably be damn near empty at that point.
Yeah. Yeah,
now,
I know we wouldn't make 3 years. Like I said, I feel like the flavors would kind of kill the spirit behind it a little bit.
Sure.
I like having those grain notes behind my gin. It's kind of a signature note on what we have here. And I think it's really fun. It gives something different. And as well, when you go into the mixology world, you can do things that complement both that grainy spirit, as well as whatever the botanicals or spices in this particular case are in the spirit itself.
It's beautiful stuff. Lake Hefner's close to the soil, so it gets a nice coastal breeze. Sure. Sure it does.
It's like a blast furnace.
Yeah, right. Exactly. All right, so we go to the bourbon and the rye next. Let's
go to the bourbon next. So one of the things we like to be really transparent about is this bourbon is 5 years old.
Okay.
Said earlier, we're a little over 18 months old.
Okay.
So kind of a very important note there. This is a source product for us.
Okay.
Placeholder for us to keep. Some brown goods and also have some, mixing points and things like that. Both in the market as well as at the distillery.
Okay.
So this comes from MGP up in Indiana. It's their 5-year, 21% rye bourbon.
Okay.
We have chosen to bottle it at 105 proof.
Okay.
And there's some really nice maple and caramel notes here. With your leather oaks and tobaccos come in the finish really nicely. And it, I don't know if you've got a neck tag on that or not, but we're in full transparency. The neck tag now it'll be a separate tag.
Oh, it's a separate like hanging thing,
right?
Okay.
If you see, it's called our preface series.
Yeah, see, it's preface.
So the tagline for our distillery is a story told in every sip.
Okay. Okay.
And we kind of, if you see our tasting room, it's kind of like a dark library.
Yep. Okay.
And with that, we call this our preface series because it predates our actual bourbon and rye for once we get that aged out.
Okay. So what's the goal with that? How long you think you're going to age the whiskey? Or is it just you'll know when you know type thing?
Well, like I said before, we'll let the whiskey tell us. We will be letting it go at least 2 years before even sampling it so that we can be a straight bourbon and a straight rye. One of the fun things we'll be doing, I'm very aggressive with my barrel program, which is kind of why we don't have anything laid down yet. I wasn't willing to just accept whatever somebody wanted to offload. We're going to be aging in central Oklahoma. kind of pre-desert prairie area.
Right.
I need a barrel that's ready to stand up to that.
Okay.
So we'll be doing 53-gallon barrels, but we'll also be doing toasted and a number 3 char.
Okay.
I also want 24-month weather before they turn into the barrels. So
you're getting really good barrels then.
Yes.
Wow.
And then we're actually going to be using used shipping containers as our rick houses.
Okay. Awesome.
So on your days where we're reaching 105 degrees outside, those shipping containers are going to be 135, 140.
Yeah, that'll feel great to go in there and pull those out.
Right. Well, the thing that'll be fun too is even in winter, whereas most whiskey is considered not to be aging below 40 degrees.
Right.
Even in winter on cold days, a black shipping container with sun on it's still going to be 60, 80 degrees inside. So we're still going to get some fluctuation inside that unit, even in dead middle of winter, which is kind of fun. I look to have a very fast aging process and hope with all of that in mind and all of those points coming together at the same time, we would have 2 to 3 year old whiskey that would taste 4 to 6 years old.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm interested in this because I haven't had a whole lot of whiskey from Oklahoma. Interested to see how that is compared to Texas. Just, it's a slightly different climate. You guys are a little bit very further north and stuff. So looking forward to trying that when you guys have it ready. What barrel company are you guys looking to get your barrels from?
Right now, so as of when we first went into production and called to get some barrels, they would take my phone call, and that's about as far as I could get. There was a shortage on barrels for a couple of years there.
Yes, there was, unfortunately.
And at the beginning of this year, we were told in January that we couldn't get barrels until at least 2025.
Ugh.
But then when I went to Denver to the American Craft Spirits Association conference in March, we were told then, oh, no, we got plenty. We can send them as soon as you're ready. And that was kind of all of them. That was ISC. That was Kelvin. That was well, unfortunately, we had kind of allocated the barrel funds to other things. And so we are getting back on top of that. Now, one of the fun things we are doing is because of the barrel problem, we started working with a couple of local companies, a woodworker as well as a logistics company.
Okay.
To kind of produce some highly specialized local barrels.
Okay.
Made with Oklahoma post oak, which is a white oak.
Ooh.
Cut and hewn. It's been weathered in Oklahoma.
Okay.
It's been cut and hewn by a local woodworking company. The metal belts going on it are being manufactured by a local company. Okay. And then we will also be using 100% Oklahoma corn, wheat, and barley.
Very cool.
From small farm operations. And then we will be, so it'll be 100% Oklahoma, everything aged in those used shipping containers.
Awesome.
And the way we're doing it, the barrels aren't even your typical bowed barrels. They're straight side barrels because the woodworking company doesn't have the ability to do the quarter saw.
Okay. Okay. So they're kind of like the squirrel boxes, basically, that concept. Okay. Very cool.
But super thick wood, so we'll be doing even a longer toast because it's probably 50% thicker staves than your typical stave. And so we'll do a little bit longer toast. We'll still go ahead with the number 3 char and all that local grain, local aging. I'm sure we'll recoup our price on that on the backside.
Yeah, I'm sure. Good wood is not cheap.
We want those companies driving up costs just for the sake of that either. Like we want we want to have a good quality whiskey that's worth the price we put on it, not just because we said it is.
Totally. Yeah. Well, I'm interested. So will you guys be the very first to use Oklahoma oak then?
Yes, as far as I know.
That's awesome. Oh, I'm really excited for you guys. That sounds really cool. All right. So this should be a really exciting project. When it's hopefully done, like you said, in a few years, we can try this. But yeah, have you come back on and see that. That sounds amazing. Yeah, I love all the nerdy oak things that are all going on now, different with Gariana and the stuff from whether it's Missouri or Kentucky or whatever.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And it's just funny how much, even though it's all American oak, it's just all such a different American oak, depending what region it's from.
Well, we had a company call us a while back, and it was American oak that had been weathered and coopered in Spain. So it was cut here.
Oh.
immediately shipped to Spain, weathered and coopered in Spain.
Interesting.
And then barrels shipped back. We were really interested in doing that because that's kind of a fun story.
Yeah,
thing.
for real. Yeah.
And the barrels weren't even that crazy priced. Now, all the barrels were crazy priced at the time, but compared to what other barrels were being sold, the price wasn't that crazy because of the back.
Okay.
The problem was we were going to have to buy like 220 of them at a time.
Oh, that's a lot.
And I just don't walk around with $1 million in my sock like
right. Yeah, I don't blame you. I love it. Spencer says, so not whiskey barrels, whiskey treasure chests.
Right. Yeah.
You should coin that there, Spencer. I like that. That's really great. So I guess for you guys, when you put them into the hot boxes, essentially at that point, how tall can you put them stacked in there?
So we're actually going to stack them. They're going to be stood on end.
Stood on ends, okay.
Stack about 2 high.
Okay, so nothing great. So you have to, I guess, should be interesting to stick them in there. And what do you pick? Is it just this manual manpower pick them up, or are you gonna have some kind of machine like the forklift?
Yeah, there's little they're hydraulic lifts that'll lift them up to the 4
okay.
Slot them in place.
Very cool. Or Peter Newton says whiskey bread boxes.
Yeah.
Either way works. It makes
you got to buy those things and retrofit them to have some ventilation and stuff like that. Okay. And then we're also going to cut doors on both sides. So especially like this time of year, if I've got to go pull barrels, I don't want to walk in there and not have some air movement. You wouldn't be able to walk in there. There'd be so much alcohol in the air.
Oh yeah, that's a death trap at that point. Yeah, that's
you had to open up both ends, let it air out, grab the barrels you need, close it back up.
Yeah, we were talking to one distiller. He was telling us that he works one of the major ones up in Canada. He says they have to actually open it up for an hour before anyone's even allowed in there because there's so many barrels aging that, and they have to have, they're on respirators and stuff because good chance you'll die otherwise.
For sure.
It's like,
funny story. When I first got the stills in and fired them up, I had to replace the seals between all the flanges.
Okay.
And I had not tightened them down properly when I fired up the first time. Middle of winter, fired up, started running, and didn't really realize how bad those steels were pouring out alcohol vapors.
Super.
And I remember I was standing at the back of the building and I tripped on a hose. Not bad, but tripped on a hose.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? And then I kind of as I tripped and stood back up, I looked around. I was like, oh, I'm hammered.
Oh,
it's like 8 a.m.
Oh no, that's too funny. Guess lesson learned on that one, right?
Yeah, I opened all the doors and I had the overhead vent fan running already, but I opened all the doors, shut the still off for a minute. I say a minute, shut the still off until it cooled down and I could tighten up the bolts. But
sure.
That's right. Our front of house manager at the time came back through the door and he was just going to get something. And he kind of walked by me, looked at me, goes, "Are you drunk?" I said, "Yeah."
Oh, that's too funny.
Now, because it was all vapor, once I got some fresh air, it kind of dissipated pretty quick too.
That's a plus.
Yeah. But for a few minutes there, I was quite hammered on 8 o'clock on a Wednesday morning for no reason other than I walked into the room.
That's scary. Yeah, Peter says he needs to go visit Philly back in OKC. Yes, you do. Go check them out. You'll have a good time.
So what is that?
Yeah, I guess Peter says he gets to go visit family in OKC, so I guess he can come see you. So that'll be a good thing.
I definitely do.
Now, I assume you're just basically there during the day, essentially. Are you there a lot of times at night, too, if people are coming by or whatever?
If we have, big special events and stuff like that, I will try to make myself available. Because of all those years of bartending, I'm kind of a people person.
Yep.
And so I love doing the tours and the tasting with people and that kind of thing. I also, especially with a lot of the groups, will do kind of sensory tastings and walk them through how to taste it.
Very cool. Yeah.
Or how to breathe it, how to smell it. Don't just stick your nose in the glass.
Right.
Or this is why you're doing that. And it's a lot of fun. I love doing that with people. When you come for the tour, I've got a lot of anecdotes about how we put everything together and designed the floor and what happened.
Sure.
And, this fell and damn near killed me and all those things.
Yeah. Right. Hey there to Mike, and of course there's Jason, the Mash and Drum. Good to see you there, Jason. I think you need to come check this stuff out, Jason. It's good stuff. I know you're up in Ohio, but if you get a chance and you come down to the castle, hopefully later this year, we'll have you try a bunch of this stuff, and hopefully you can take some back to Ohio and review it yourself. It's good stuff. Hey, Donald, good to see you there too from Canada. I know, unfortunately, not available in Canada. Only available in Oklahoma, so guys. But so far, hey, but that's the good news is good stuff eventually makes it out of that state, so you'll be in good shape.
If you got people from Ohio, you ought to recognize our bottle design if you've ever been to Watershed.
I would assume Jason probably does because he is up in there. Is this bottle so familiar to there, Jason? Assuming it is. Let's see. 15 hours of work. That does not sound fun at all, Donald. Not fun at all. No. Says that that's why he's allowed my dumb self to hang out with him for a few hours, me having zero capabilities for distilling. That's right. And then he says, yep, that's the Watershed bottle. Perfect. There we go. All right, so let's move on to your rye. Give that a whirl.
So the rye, I really, really like that bourbon. I love that rye. I tell people all the time, the rye, if I'm doing a big batch of vodka, even for the vodka run itself, my last run on vodka was a 26-hour day from the time I fired distill up to the time I was.
That's a long day.
So at 3 a.m, again, everything's manual. I can't take a nap. I can't sleep. And I'm technically the only employee on the distillery side of the wall.
Oh, wow.
So I'm there at 3 a.m. I can't do caffeine because I'll crash.
Yeah, sure.
And so I drink the rye to keep the blood thin.
Okay. There you go. Oh, that's hilarious. We're up to 115 proof. Nice.
115 proof. Now, the dangerous thing about that is it does not drink at 115 proof. You've got your nice butterscotch toffees, the rye spice, leather, oak, tobacco. And the tobacco here reminds me, my dad used to chew old Levi Garrett chewing tobacco, and that's what that tobacco reminds me of.
Okay. Yeah, it's got a really nice peppermint there, menthol to it. Nice. Oh, I like that. This is, I assume, also sourced from MGP?
Yes, correct. This is their 3-year, 95% rye.
Okay. Oh. So when you get it from them, do you do anything with it, or you just simply bottle it?
No, we don't. We had thought about that for some time, but being so young as a distillery and kind of trying to keep up with demand, we don't have a lot of time to get it in and then say finish it in this or finish it in that.
Sure.
To do some of that stuff. When we get it in, we're kind of trying to just keep the market full and stay ahead of that. And we kind of like featuring what we're doing here. When we got started, one of the cool things, I say cool, that happened with COVID is a lot of people became much more aware of what they were drinking and how they were drinking.
Totally true. Yes, like when we started this channel, there were not very many of us that were reviewers. Now there's thousands of us.
There are, and you know, years ago, you would tell somebody MGP, and if they knew who MGP was,
right,
they would be like, "Oh God." But then you have to remind them. And I used to have people do that. Oh, MGP. Well, what's your favorite bourbon? Bullet. Oh,
dumbasses.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny.
And you know, things like that. And so, but now you more and more, you still get a couple of those, but more and more when you're kind of connoisseurs and you're more learned people come through and you tell them MGP, they go, "Oh, which one?"
Yeah, exactly. That's usually which one. Which mash bill is it? That's what we all want to know. Exactly. Tara requested 3. We only took 1 to share with the green. So how many of these bottles, or I guess how many barrels did you get from them for the bourbon and the rye that you have? And do you still have a lot left to sell? Or are you going to get more before you guys' own products are ready?
We got more on the way.
More on the way. Okay. Very cool.
We got more on the way now. Like I said, we don't have any whiskey laid down at this point.
Right.
We hopefully in the next month or so, by the fourth quarter here, we'll be bringing in barrels and starting to lay them down. So.
Okay. So the other question we're going to get is it available to buy online at all? That's the other question.
No, we have looked into that into multiple categories and avenues. And most of them, we'd have to sell 1 million cases before we'd even get our money back for what we're
then. That's pointless. There might be someone I can help that you could talk to that might be able to help you. I'll talk to you about it after the show. That someone I talked to the other day that actually might be able to help you with that at a reasonable price. This is really nice. All right, very cool.
Yeah, I really like it. Great Sazeracs, great Manhattans,
Yeah.
great neat, great old fashions. This one in particular will get people come in that'll order a rye old fashioned, and we do 2-ounce pours.
Oh, nice, very nice.
So they'll come in, they'll order a couple of rye old fashions, and then they'll order the third. And if I'm standing there, a lot of times they'll be like, "Why don't you take a lap?"
Yeah, that's
Not
sick.
telling you no. I'm not telling you no. Just hit the bathroom.
Right. Yeah, we get that thing too. It's like some people like don't realize. No, you don't understand. That's a lot of booze.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not eating anything. That's one. Do you guys have food at you guys tasting room or?
So we do snack type items.
Okay.
We have like bread baskets. We've got a little. We've had some hummus trays from time to time. We've got charcuterie boards that we keep on site, so that you've got little snack type items, and then we encourage you to order in from any of our partners right there. We've got a place. There's a Mexican place. There's a Chinese noodle house that should be opening any moment.
Oh, very nice.
And so we do encourage people. You can order it in. You can DoorDash it in.
Sure.
With a lot of times, if I'm there at night or have a late night or we have something going on, I'll DoorDash something in myself. So
perfect. There you go. So the solution, JD, is make friends that live in Oklahoma and they can help you out for now. They can come visit you in California and bring you something.
That's right. Where are you at in California? Where's he at in California? Do you know?
JD, where in California are you? I know he just moved back there. He was in Poland prior, so I don't know where he's at. He's a traveling man, but I know he's back. So,
well, if he's around, depending on which market he's in, I've got a buddy and mentor that I went to Moonshine University with for Beaver's. Why can't I remember his name? Golden Beaver Distillery. They're out of Chico.
That's an awesome name for a distillery.
It is a great name for a distillery. His moonshine is called Beaver Liquor, Likko.
That's great. Love it. I have to look that up. That's hilarious. Well, I assume it's pretty good too.
He's doing some incredible stuff with Calrose rice whiskeys. His moonshine is 100% rice whiskey. His vodka is 100% rice vodka. He does a soju that is amazing, 100% rice. He does rice. He even does rice bourbons. Like he'll do the corn, but there's rice in there, and it's really good stuff. And that rice, that 100% rice whiskey, does some amazing things with only just a year, 18 months in a barrel.
This sounds like someone I need to talk to. I'd never even heard of it. That sounds awesome. Let's look this guy up.
Yeah, I can give you his contact afterwards too. Is Chris?
I'd love to have it. Yeah, that'd be someone I think we'd be fascinated to talk to for sure.
Oh yeah, he knows the market really well. He's really in tune. He's also helping to change some of the liquor laws in California for helping out distillers and things like that.
Okay, so apparently JD is in Palm Springs.
Okay. I don't know if he's made it that far south. I know he's Chico, San Francisco, Sacramento, pretty heavy.
Very cool. Let's see. Donald says, I'm on a bus that has a lot of drunk people coming from North America's largest fair, drunk right now. Interesting vibe listening to you guys and hearing them drunken suds. I bet it is, Donald. Oh, yes. The lovely stories of the people, the good times on the bus there in Toronto. Always something going on. Yes, you're right. Your label design is really nice. And you're right, Andy. It is not your typical craft. It's a beautiful. Like I said, I love their logo. I just think that's one of the coolest logos I've seen in a long time. So it's really great.
Well, all of those pieces are individual, and they're all put on by hand.
Oh, wow.
So we hand bottle, hand cork, and hand label everything, and all those pieces are individual from the other.
Crap. How long does it take you to oh my, you guys have a ton of stuff on here.
Yeah, there's 6 different pieces of those labels, not including the vodka has that metal on it. That's a 7th piece.
Jeez. How long does it take you average to put all these stickers, like a minute a piece?
Yeah, something like that. So we do when we're doing big bottling parties. I'm typically bottling and corking, and then I throw it down the table and somebody else, and you'll have a team.
That makes sense.
Sometimes one person will hold a bottle and do every label. Sometimes one person puts on front label, one person puts on back label, the next person puts on ribbon, next person puts on the cap, the next person puts on the neck.
Makes total sense.
and just depending on how many people we have. But once with like our volunteer crew comes in, they kind of just enjoy doing it because when you come in and volunteer to help, we give you free drinks and food.
Even better. I love it.
And then a bottle of your choice to take home with you. So that's kind of
better. How often do you guys do your bottling parties?
Big bottling parties. We haven't had one in a couple of months. As far as big, we've kind of just been keeping up with needs as we went.
Sure.
We are due for another big one. I'm actually due for another vodka distillation pretty quick here too.
Okay.
So we'll have a big one after that. And but they're kind of fun when you come in. I kind of like being part of them. We do some contract distillations as well.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Over this past weekend, we bottled up about 3,000 bottles of the brew we were making for the other company. So
very cool. Yeah, I think I can name a couple others. Well, I'll ask you about them after we're done. That are in Oklahoma that I've tried. So let's see here. Beaver Liquor sounds like an apology liquor in Canada. Probably so. So it's a good website with bourbon at Golden Beaver. Okay. So look at the absinthe. I'll check out the details. I won't see any. Oh, yes, there's absinthe. Don't worry, Spencer. We're about to get into some absinthe here. All right. You only can for the gin and vodka. Well, as you know, so Rough Draft absinthe. This is an awesome label.
So, yeah, so the Rough Draft is a series that we created so that I can squirrel off and do things that are off book, so to speak.
Okay.
So our Rough Draft series, when we only sell it at the distillery. It doesn't go to market.
Okay.
And then if it does well enough, it will go to market. I will tell you this absinthe has done well enough. Our next round will be in the big boy bottle and go to market.
Holy crap, 140.
It's nice. Bottled at 140. It is a single vapor infusion, which did include wormwood.
Nice.
And then it's twice macerated to bring in the color and the mouthfeel.
Oh, yeah, that smells good.
It also just won gold at John Barleycorn Awards.
Okay.
And I like to tell people it will start talking to you, and it does not shut up.
Perfect. That's my kind of absinthe. I love absinthe, so I'm super stoked for this. Now, this the brown that's on the side, is that part of the label, or is that just?
No, that's where something's spilled.
Okay, I didn't know. It's like that's a really cool thing. If something just spilled. Okay, I was like, you could have just said it was. It would be fine.
Yeah, but as a rough draft, you can see it looks like a torn out piece of.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It's a great label. I love it. Oh,
so, under our rough draft series, we have that worldwide gin that I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
It's released as the unaged version of that barrel aged gin.
Very cool.
And then we also have our White Dog that we released a while back, our unaged bourbon.
Or with translating. There you go. David has my cell. He can text you when they need help labeling. Or with translating Greek. There you go. Oh, yes. Spencer, we'll have to bring an absinthe to Stone. That's all. There's some really great Czech ones we can bring on. We've had, this is like the second absinthe we've had on now in the last few weeks. This is great. Oh, it smells so good. It's a super clean absinthe, too. It's not overpowering the nose as like licorice usually is. Interesting. Oh, that's really good. I like that. So what's your favorite way to drink the absinthe?
My favorite way, actually, just like you just did.
Just like it? Yeah, neat. Oh, it's good. I do like making the green fairy, though, too. That's also one of my favorite things.
That's a good one. Over the summer at my family reunion, I made some fairy godmothers. And
nice.
They were really nice and refreshing in the summer heat.
They were.
It was nice with the fresh pineapple juice and stuff like that we used. It was good.
I bet it was. Although my aunt says Grandpa always used absinthe when we had a stomach ache or a hangover.
Right. Well,
there you go. Perfect.
We do both. So it was actually originally designed by Dr. Pierre Ordinaire, which is why we named ours Absinthe Ordinaire, because in America you can't just call it absinthe.
Cool.
So Dr. Pierre Ordinaire really originally created it as a digestif to help after and help with settling the stomach. And you can
Switzerland originally? Is that where? Yeah, because I know it was banned for a long time there. And reviewed some of those Swiss ones.
But when you taste it, you can actually feel like your insides almost relax.
Yeah, that's wild. So I guess he was a doctor. So he was like a MD doctor type, and he was like use it on his patients, whatever, to relax, essentially, like you said.
Right. Yeah. Back then they're eating things like haggis and all that garbage. And I
Right.
can't imagine what that would do to the intestinal tract, but this would relax all that and calm it down and or numb it.
Yeah, it definitely will numb it, no doubt. So Andy says, I don't know if you can talk about, there's something apparently in a blue barrel in the corner. It's amazing. It kicked Tara's butt, whatever that is.
So that was a happy mistake we made.
Okay.
When we first got those stills in from Colby Frey, he had broken them down and they had been sitting for about a year and a half, 2 years unused. I knew we needed to clean the system up.
Okay.
I wasn't super keen on running a bunch of acid or citric acid or stuff like that through my system if I didn't have to. So I thought, well, what better way to not only get to know my system, but also clean it than high-grade corn whiskey.
Okay.
So we made some 100% corn mash, and I ran it through the system. And the first couple times I knew, and the whole idea was to do that and then basically destroy it as a write-off.
Okay, sure.
This is just meant to clean the system. And we ran it through the system a couple times. And the first couple times through, it was kind of cleaning some stuff up, and there was a lot of sediment stuff coming out. However, after about the third run through, I think I was on my fourth run through, and it was coming off, and it smelled good, and it looked crystal clear coming off the proofing parrot. And we were kind of right in the middle of hearts.
Yeah.
I was like, well, let me just taste it, because we were going to do this one and like one more run and then destroy it. And so I grabbed one of those Glencairns, pulled a little bit, and it was 152 proof.
Nice.
Coming off the still, I was running it kind of hot and fast, so it would just be blowing.
Yeah.
And it was delicious. Buttery popcorn, caramel, vanilla notes, nice and dry. And I took some to David Wood. I was like, I don't know what we're going to do with this. We don't want to be a moonshine company. We don't ever really want to sell 100% corn whiskey, but I cannot destroy this. I don't know. So yeah, it's still sitting in a blue barrel in the corner until we decide exactly what we're going to do. I think the idea is that we're going to release a whiskey at one of our anniversaries, either second or third or fifth, called First Runs. And it's the first whiskey that ever came off the still after we bought it. And you'll never see it again because we won't ever do 100% corn again. So,
all right. Well, Andy, next time in the store, you got to get me a sample of this stuff. That sounds amazing. I must try this. That sounds really, really cool. I love when you have happy accents with distilling. It's just like, oh, magic happens. It's the best kind.
Right. Yeah. That was a happy mistake.
That's great. Let's see here. Donald says, go to the Canadian National Exhibition. You want to see beaver liquor, idiots and their girlfriends loaded on Tiny Tom's donuts and vodka at game night. They apologize and expose bits on the transit. Oh, you're having a good time. Oh my gosh. Can only imagine. So I would film, but the transit inspectors have boarded, and they would fine me $250 without having a permit. Can you imagine trying to tell Americans that we're going to fine you for filming? Only in Canada. You're too nice up there. Oh gosh, that's funny. Hey, Mike Brock, good to see you. Okay, so JD wants to know, what about plum brandy? I'm a big fan of plum brandy.
We have no aspirations for that. We were talking off camera before the show started. We are going to be playing with some liqueurs down the pipe a little bit, doing a nocino, like a black walnut liqueur. It's an Italian thing. They're actually really good. You can find them in certain stores in different places. For those of you in Ohio, Watershed makes a fantastic one.
Okay.
And then we also will be doing some sort of persimmon brandy derivative. We don't really know what that looks like.
Super stoked.
It'll be persimmons that we actually ferment up and create a brandy out of, instead of doing a persimmon infused something or another. And then, but because there's not really anything on the market, we're not really sure where that's going. We know that we're going to try some aged, we're going to try some spiced, we're going to try it straight off the still. Maybe it does become a liqueur. We don't know.
Could be fun. You get a whole set of minis of each one so you can try.
That's right.
can vote which one's your favorite. That's how you solve that problem. Says, okay, Andy says, ask about their selling new make and barrels as part of starting off stuff. What does that mean, Andy?
Oh, gotcha. So last Christmas, we actually did a program for Christmas where you could, whether it was a gift for you or a gift for somebody else.
Yeah.
You buy our package, and it came with a 1.5 liter barrel.
Okay. Oh, nice.
That was etched with obviously our logo, and then your name and or the person whose gift it was for name. So you got the name on the barrel.
Oh, very cool.
And then 2 bottles of our new make unaged bourbon at 120 proof, so it's ready for the barrel.
Very cool. I like that. That's really, really cool. I like that idea.
And then you take it home, and it came with instructions. We always instructed people. And for anybody out there that's buying those barrels online or otherwise, don't ever put those in your kitchen or your living room. Put those outside somewhere in a shed, on a back porch, somewhere out of direct sunlight. Don't ever do your garage because it'll suck in exhaust fumes.
That's a problem.
But a shed, a back porch, someplace out of direct sunlight, direct rain, but you want the weather to heat it up and cool it down.
I'll ask my brother where he stores his. I'm not sure. I know he's done one for years. He's always swapping. I know he's got a brand new one in the last couple of months. But he's done one where he'd switch out rums and sherries just in scotch and all sorts of fun stuff to see what would happen to it.
Yeah, it's fun. Mine is actually I'm probably due to go get it. It's been sitting up in the attic for 6 months.
Oh wow, nice. Sounds like a good time. I have no idea if Woodhead has a persimmon liqueur or not. No clue, Spencer. Maybe they do. I don't know.
There are some persimmon liqueurs, out there, but they're all like persimmon infused.
Yeah, I know. I think Orgy, is one of them that does persimmons.
Yeah, there's one of those. There's a couple. It's not aperitif, but it's something similar to that.
Yeah.
And they're not bad. They're a little overly sweetened for my taste.
Sure.
I would want something with kind of that bold, bright, tart persimmon.
Yeah, for sure.
To stay true.
So when are you guys currently working on that already, or that's just in the plans to be worked on?
No, I've got the plan as in I've already got the specific yeast, the new and the processes figured out as to how we're going to do it.
Okay. Very cool.
Unfortunately, persimmons and or persimmon pulp are not cheap.
Yeah, it's not like you can go to the grocery store and buy some. It doesn't work that way.
Right. Yeah. And then even getting out into a farm, like I've had a couple people be like, I've got 2 persimmon trees. Well, that's not anywhere close to enough.
You're like, that's really generous and awesome, but you realize how much it takes to do this.
Yeah, I need about 800, 900 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, but thanks for the offer.
Right.
Fun
time.
So,
and they are trying to help, and it is very sweet. And I do appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Are you, I guess when you're doing that, are you going to use like a press, or how's that? What's the plan for taking apart?
We're going to kind of go old world style on it. We're going to have a grate.
Okay.
And then basically stomp them through the grate so that seeds stay on top of the grate and the pulp
goes.
goes.
Okay. Very cool. Hey, Richard, good to see you there. Oh, wow. All right. That sounds awesome. Yeah. I love it when distilleries do it the real way because there's such a big difference between real fruit, the imitation crap. Right. It's just like, it's kind of like, good vodkas that are flavor vodkas, but they're actually made with real fruit compared to flavoring is a vast difference.
Oh, for sure.
It's not even close. But yeah, I've got that some more of this absinthe because it's good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That is a compliment.
I would drink all of them again for sure, and probably will be soon. So yeah, I'm sure we have lots of people come by the castle. Can we try that stuff we saw on the show? Yes, that's what it's for. So that's the point. You come take a class at the castle. We can do a whole one apparently on Woodworks at this point. So won't last very long. We don't have full ones, but we got enough to probably do a few people on it. Could be fun. So. Oh, yes, you're right, Andy, because I didn't even try this on purpose till the night before the show, Andy, so I'd see what the real reaction would be. So they've all been excellent. So thanks again, Andy, for picking all these up. These are all excellent products. So
yeah, appreciate you. Yeah.
He must have told me, I don't know how many times, like, you got to try this Woodworks. You got to try the Woodworks. So, like, all right, fine. You talk to him about it. You get him on the show. We'll do it. Sounds like a plan, and it's been awesome.
Yeah, this has been fun. I've enjoyed it.
Absolutely. So what else do people know about Woodworks?
Um, let's see. Some other things that are way down the pipe. Being from Louisiana, I do want to play in the rum category at some point.
Ooh, I do like rum.
Not only is aged, but also we'll do some spiced, we'll do some white.
Sure.
If we can get it where we want it. Rum's a little tricky, especially in the white category.
Yeah.
But I love a good aged rum.
Me too.
And so I'm looking forward to playing with that. But again, kind of in the same spirit as the persimmon, I don't just want to do bags of sugar. I really want to put in a truckload of sugar cane, juice it, press it, roll it, and ferment off.
Okay.
It's going to be a lot of work, but I figured that'd be something kind of fun that the community would love to come help. Throw grain through a press, or not grain, throw stalks of sugar cane into a roller.
Ooh. Oh, okay. So you kind of like that Brazilian style. All right. That's cool. I forget the name of that. Was it Chicago or however you pronounce that one down in Brazil? It's not rum, but similar conceptually to rum. But that sounds like fun. Now, are you going to try to get like agricole, really funky, and like Dunder pits, or not quite that kind of style?
What's not quite that style.
Okay. A cleaner rum, essentially, then.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that kind of fits our category we've got going on here. I also want to play. I love basically everything agave derivative.
Oh, I'd love to see that. Yeah, that's the cool thing. Definitely coming is all these new American spirits that are using agave. I was at the Texas bar and nightclub thing on a convention on last week. There was a guy up in Munster, Texas, that has now a vodka, but made with agave.
Oh, well, yeah.
That was cool. I'd never had anything like that.
Yeah, that would be interesting. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I know you're starting to see some Sotols from different people now, and it's just really cool to start seeing American products made with agave. I guess you have to call them agave spirits because not Mexico. So.
Right. Well,
what would your goal be with like that?
I love Sotol in the cocktail world, and it's
so good.
I really want to play in that category as well, and do kind of a lot of those. So that'll all be all the rums, all those agave things will all be under our rough draft series. So we'll only do them small batches in the distillery.
Very cool. That sounds awesome. See, Tiger Woods is putting on a mini golf space near their distillery, and there's several great restaurants. Oh, very cool.
Yeah, where that's going in, you could walk to the distillery. You might not want to. It's like right at a mile, but
okay. But still, it's super close.
Walking distance, yeah.
Yeah, especially on a nice night, easy enough to walk down the street. Yeah, that's cool. So I don't know. I don't know a lot about Oklahoma City, but so where in the city are you guys in? Like a pretty urban part or industrial? Like what part of the city are you guys kind of in?
We're kind of right where all of that meets, kind of industrial meets. The beginning is what you would call the suburbs.
Okay, sure, out there. Okay.
We are about 7 minutes. I don't even think it's 7 miles. About 7 minutes straight north of downtown.
Okay, very cool.
Awesome. We are. There's a town right above Oklahoma City called Edmond, and we're
heard of that.
2 blocks from Edmond. I actually live in Edmond.
Oh, okay. So you're up. Oh, so you're up there. Okay, very cool. Awesome.
So we're pretty close. We're actually in what was the old town of Britain.
Okay. Cool.
Which was its own town and ultimately got incorporated by the city. We actually sit on what is the old Route 66.
Oh, very cool.
And in fact, on the side of our building is a big old Route 66 mural.
Awesome.
And we had renovated an old movie theater. You can still see the old baffling on the walls.
Really?
And it's brick and concrete and very kind of industrial-esque. And what's kind of cool is our ceiling is a domed wooden ceiling. So it's got the concave look.
Okay.
And it actually caught fire at one point. So it's technically charred oak roofing.
How long ago did this fire happen? A long time ago, I assume?
Yeah, 40, 50 years, I think.
Okay. So the building's fairly old then, I assume?
Yeah, the building was built. So across the street was the original Ritz Theater where they used to do the old cowboy shows.
Wow. That's awesome.
And then they built this theater when they were starting to move toward moving picture.
Holy crap. So it's old. So it's like close to 100 years old at this point or a little over?
I think we're They say it was built in like our building was built in the 50s.
50s, okay.
I think it's a little older than that, but I don't have any proof. It's just there's some things about it that just make me think that it might have been renovated in the 50s.
Okay, that would make more sense, especially if you're based on what you're saying with the movie theaters.
Just kind of rumor and things I've seen. I don't know that.
Yeah. Right. It would make sense.
I do know when we were doing the excavating to put in the plumbing in the building, there's an old concrete pad at the back that looks like a small raised stage. Which is where they would have shot, where the movie would have been projected to.
Sure.
However, once we started excavating for plumbing, we found old ramps that went down below what is now the foundation.
Okay.
Well, those ramps would have been used for props.
Sure.
You don't need props for moving buildings.
No.
For moving pictures, rather.
No, you do not.
So you need props for those old cowboy shows. So I think they were doing a little bit of both, at least, is the old cowboy shows as well as
sure. No doubt. That's cool. Okay, so like a mile off 35. Okay, super close to that too. Very cool. All right, Donald says, so finally away from the X80, it's now in the final bus home. I've seen more sausage and beaver than an 1800 for a trapper. Jeez. Oh, visit Toronto. There was a Drake sponsored event tonight, so it makes sense. Good grief. Oh, the things apparently you see in Toronto. I had never seen anything like that on a bus before. That's crazy. Good grief. Well, at least you got a free show, Donald. You got that going for you.
Some people have to pay for that stuff.
More so than he wanted, I'm sure, too. And he wants to know, what's the timeline for releasing your own distillate once it's in a barrel? It's usually what, 2 to 4 years? You said you hope something like that.
Yeah, it'll be. I'm pretty sure we'll start getting stuff laid down this fall, so we'll be at least 2 years. But I don't want to guarantee. I don't want to tell people 2 years and then
sure, because you just don't know, right?
Right. It'll be like I said. We will let the spirit tell us.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best way to do it. There's no doubt. That's cool. We'll go back to this vodka because this vodka's great.
Yeah, that vodka's an easy drinker. I spend a lot of time pouring that one.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's definitely one of the best vodkas I ever had. So it's damn good stuff.
Thank you.
And I've had a lot of vodka, a lot of shitty vodka. This is a damn good one. Cheers, Spencer. Have a good night. Yeah, absolutely, Spencer. I'm glad next time you come down, you should check this stuff out because I know in the day down from Nebraska, Oklahoma City is definitely on the way.
Yeah.
So stop there to see them, then come see us. See, Kristen Lilith will be here in about a month, so who knows what. Well, that's true there, Donald. That's a good point. I'll see Kristen Lilith tomorrow. So we've got some Aussie friends coming in that they're I guess they're probably in the air about now. So we'll see them tomorrow afternoon. So I'm excited to have them here. So you never know what happens when Aussies show up.
I've had the pleasure of drinking with a few of those over the years. That's sometimes a whole task.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just wish they'd do a single malt. Well, do you guys have any interest in doing a single malt? Or is that not really your thing?
Absolutely, I have a lot of interest in doing a single malt, but I'm on that. I'm going to stay very much a purist. And so with our single malt, I do not even want to start that program until after I've got my own dumped barrels back.
Ooh, I like that plan.
So we'll dump our barrels, and I will plan to start it immediately upon dumping those barrels.
Sure.
We'll go ahead and make that distillate, and then we'll put those in the barrels and put it back in the hold. Does
barley grow well there in Oklahoma?
Not great, but we do have a couple of little niche farms that do some.
Okay,
that'll be cool. Fun. So we got a lot of wheat, a lot of corn.
Right. Yeah, I know we get a little bit of barley out in the, not in the plain, West Texas and the plains, but that's about all we get.
Yeah, there's not any big barley farmers here, but there's enough that we could get enough to do some. And I don't know for one of the things we haven't done. And don't look to do it even with the single malt, is to overly identify ourselves with Oklahoma grain. Because at any point, some bug could come through and wipe out Oklahoma corn, and then we're stuck with the
That's
fact,
true.
that makes us a liar.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have been careful not to fully identify as Oklahoma grain.
Okay.
And lock ourselves in Oklahoma grain. If we can, we do source Oklahoma grain.
Sure, which makes total sense. It's just like you said, stuff happens with the crops and whatnot, and I know a lot of people. Of course, Texas says the same thing, but sometimes you just can't get it. Or the simple problem is there's just not enough to go around.
Right.
So
and the craft distillery movement now is what the craft brewery movement was 20, 25 years ago.
Totally agree. That there's no doubt. If you can avoid the tornadoes, hail, wind, and rain, extreme heat stuff grows well. Yeah, that's all. That's all. Especially, you guys get it. I mean, we get plenty of tornadoes here, but you guys get a ton of the damn things. So, speaking of that, do you guys have a shelter at the distillery?
We don't.
You don't? Okay.
We don't.
Fun.
We have a large insurance policy.
You have a large insurance policy. Doesn't help you, though, personally.
No, I'll go hide in the bathroom or tie myself to a barrel somewhere.
There you go. Saved by a barrel. That'll be good. That'll make a good headline for the newspaper. Okay. It says, hey, it's Toronto, a global city, so you have to be prepared for it. Well, that's true. They just look at it like men. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, that's just too funny. Let's do some more of this one. All right, what else? Is there anything else you want to tell the people about it? And then we'll probably get off here in just a few minutes. It's 11 o'clock.
I think we've kind of covered most of it. We are, anytime you're coming through, even if you're coming through with family, we are kid-friendly in the tasting room.
Okay, awesome. That's definitely good to know.
We actually have some board games and stuff like that for them. We've got books all around. If you come in by yourself and just want something to look at other than your phone, we've got a pretty decent collection of books.
Oh, very nice. I like that.
And then we have a projection wall that we project, upcoming events and or talking about our spirits, tasting notes, that kind of thing. We do tours and tastings. There's all different levels you can find on our website, Instagram, and Facebook.
Okay.
And I'd love to see you come on in. A little bit about the tasting room itself. It is the original design was wanting it to feel like the building gives you a hug when you walk in.
Okay.
And I feel like we've accomplished that. It's very speakeasy style, even though it's not a speakeasy at all necessarily. But it's that very speakeasy style. Coffee tables, high back chairs, cloth chairs, that kind of thing.
Cool.
Living rooms. So there's several living room style seating areas, as well as some tables. There's bar seating, that kind of thing. And even for the kids, we do full scale mocktails, not just Shirley Temples.
Yeah. No, I like that. Yeah, I know. It's always nice when the kids do a really cool mocktail. It's like, that makes them feel special, and it actually tastes good, and you actually want to drink it, like you said. So, which is nice. I appreciate that. As my kids have been to many distilleries over the years, because that's what they always get dragged to. So, as you can imagine. So, they're like, oh, another freaking distillery. So
my kids are kind of the same way, but they're a little bit fascinated by it because Dad does it. So they kind of
It was cool. I finally got to show my youngest. Was showing her Mount Vernon, and then she was studying for school. They happened to have the whole distillery stuff there for George Washington. I think she wants to watch it for 2 hours. He's like, "This is the coolest thing." I was like, "See, that's how whiskey's made." So I thought that was pretty fascinating. I think once they actually grasp the concept, it actually is fun for them. It's just when they're younger and they just don't care. They can't sit. It doesn't matter what you're doing. They can't sit still. Right. So, just one of those things. Says, I know that spirits are not Canada bound. Canada sucks for whiskey. Well, it is Canada. So what can I say? But well, you should be thrilled about this, doll. Tomorrow I'm going to meet with JP Weiser, COO. So it should be a good time. So he's coming to the castle tomorrow. So then God willing, after that meeting, we're supposed to have Dr. Don come in October, so it should be good times. So be good. All right, so let's see what kind of reviews this week. Sorry, no reviews last week or a show. I know we got two other shows. We had Cold Zero, we had Whiskey Del Bach, but like I said, I was at the Texas Bar nightclub thing convention, and then when I got home, I went to bed because we've been at it since noon till about 8:30, and I was done. I was like, no show. So, but you got two extra live streams, and there were no reviews, but that's life. So this week you get two reviews. You get two Balcones reviews. You get the Juntos and a very special Australian only release. Should be fun. And then the Old Smoky strawberry mango margarita for your non-whiskey for Saturday. So let's see here. Hopeful in a few years there'll be a Woodworks tasting night at the castle. That would be cool. Hopefully so. Like I said, if you ever come down, get a chance to come down, since you said you go close to Six Flags, let me know. And happy to have you over at the castle. Come hang out one night. So
absolutely, that'd be great.
Be great. But yeah, so next week, of course, is Labor Day, guys. So we'll probably do some kind of hangout. I'll tell you all about the insanity that's been happening lately with the Westward event and the like I said, the whole crazy convention. I'll tell you all guys all about that next week. It should be wild. So anything else you want to tell everybody? We pretty much good to wrap it up. I'll talk to you in a little bit about some more stuff. So
I think we're pretty good. I appreciate everybody. This has been fun. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Yeah, so stick around for a minute. I'm going to tell everybody goodbye, and then we'll talk here on the backstage. All right, everybody. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.